divine revelation. 5 miraculous insights for the chosen ones as the 1818's portal manifests now. In the quiet village of Wellingford, a miracle brewed. The news rippled through hearts and homes as the flickering candles illuminated Mary's face, casting shadows that danced like lively spirits. "We pray to Saint Jude," she said, her voice steady but filled with earnest hope for the impossible, for a revelation through the 1818 portal. It was a calling, a divine invitation to all those with a sliver of faith. Each evening, Mary gathered her 3 children around the table, teaching them to grasp their small hands together and breathe out prayers that reached the heavens. One particular evening, as flickering flames cast an otherworldly glow, Mary was struck by a vision. In her heart, she felt the 1818 portal opening like a door to the divine, a stream of miraculous insights for the faithful. There was a warmth, a glow that filled her spirit, promising the impossible could be possible. It was like the air buzzed with the promise of change, a shift that could awaken the slumbering faith of their community. The very next day, she called upon the village gathered in the ancient stone church, the heart of Wellingford. "Friends, I saw it," she exclaimed, her voice echoing off the aged walls as hymns long cherished hung in the air. The 1818's portal. It brings visions and blessings. Yet, among the gasps, there were whispers those who felt skepticism creeping in like shadows. David, her husband, stood at the back, worry gnawing at his mind. "Mary, my love," he warned gently, "what if our faith puts us at odds with science?" Then, as fate would have it, little Thomas fell ill, his small figure frail and still. The village doctor's words landed like stones in Mary's heart. Hope was dim, and worry blossomed into despair. Scrambling to cling to hope, she decided to gather the community once more, rallying them to pray in the candlelit church, igniting a fervor that enveloped them like a warm hug. This prayer vigil would be for Thomas, but also for the whole of Wellingford, calling upon St. Jude to guide them through this darkness. United, they knelt in humility, their voices rising into the night, a river of prayer flowing toward the heavens. As Mary opened her heart to God, she spoke of faith, hope, and the wondrous 1818 portal. And as she poured her soul into the air, something extraordinary began to shift. A hush fell, the flickering candles glimmered brighter, almost as if they were responding. Just as despair threatened to fully consume them, a miraculous gasp echoed. Thomas stirred, his eyes fluttering open like a bloom unfurling at spring. Joy and wonder erupted like a sudden rainfall, awakening faith anew in each heart present. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. In the glowing days that followed, the village was ablaze with wonder. Flowers bloomed in defiance of winter. The elderly found themselves unburdened of ailments previously thought incurable, and a celestial presence began to envelop Wellingford in a spirit of unity. Mary's testimony swirled around the village like a prayer itself, shifting hearts and blossoming faith. Yet, amid these miracles, doubts still shadowed, like clouds hinting at a storm. Would the revelations of the portal unify them, or further sow the seeds of division? As Mary stood at the crossroads of belief and skepticism, she wondered what tomorrow might bring. The first signs of the undeniable portal hovered just beyond view, leaving their extraordinary journey suspended in sacred mystery. As the days passed, Wellingford immersed itself in an atmosphere of newfound hope. Every dawn brought with it the anticipation of miracles. The villagers, once hesitant and skeptical, began to gather in small circles, sharing accounts of inexplicable blessings, lost items returned, broken relationships mended, and even whispered conversations with angels in their dreams. It felt as if the very air pulsed with divine energy, inviting every soul to partake in this sacred awakening. Mary watched the transformation unfold with a heart full of wonder. Each evening, her home echoed with laughter and prayer, her children embracing the beauty of belief. They collected wildflowers, weaving them into crowns, delighted in the pure joy that radiated from within them. The 1818 portal had sparked an innocent curiosity in their eyes, and Mary felt a divine reassurance in that innocence. But shadows lingered. David remained troubled despite the miracles sprouting all around them. One evening, as twilight blanketed their home and the sun dipped below the horizon, he approached Mary, his eyes filled with concern. "Love," he said softly, "do you ever wonder if we're getting carried away? What if this is all just illusions? What if doubt is a necessary element to balance our newfound faith?" Mary paused, considering his words. She could see the doubt etched in his brow, like clouds overshadowing a sunny day. "David," she said, reaching for his hand, "faith isn't a retreat from reason. It's a deeper understanding that we can trust beyond what we see. The portal is the promise of union with the divine, and that promise is alive in our hearts. Our doubts make us human, but they don't have to define us." David nodded, yet his worry remained. If the 1818's portal is truly here, how can we lead our community without becoming lost in its wonders? As if in response to their discussion, a flicker caught Mary's eye. She moved toward the window where the last light of day gave way to the first stars of night. "Look," she whispered, her heart racing. "Do you see that? Out in the field, a gentle glow illuminated a patch of grass. Just beyond the village, wildflowers shimmered as if kissed by an unseen hand, radiating light in the twilight." Mary held her breath, and David stepped closer, their doubts momentarily silenced by the magic unfolding before them. Without thinking, Mary grabbed her children and ran toward the glow. As they stepped into the grass, the warm radiance wrapped around them like a heavenly embrace. The village quickly followed, a crowd gathering, eyes wide with wonder. "Blessed is this light," Mary proclaimed, her voice rising. "It is a sign of our faith igniting the divine spark within us." People broke into whispered prayers as they stood enraptured. In that moment of unity, Mary saw hope blossom in the eyes of many, renewing not just her family's faith, but that of the entire village. Yet she sensed a deeper significance, a divine purpose nested within the glow that still awaited revelation. Just when the people thought the light couldn't shine any brighter, shadows danced at the edges of the field. The atmosphere shifted, and an unsettling question arose in her heart. Could this miraculous light also have darker implications? With each flicker illuminating the night, Mary felt the anticipation of what lay ahead. The portal remained open, revealing visions yet unseen, awaiting her embrace. And so, with her heart racing, she turned to the crowd, the stirring magic wrapping them in faith, and asked, "What will the next miracle demand of us?" As the air crackled with expectation, what awaited them beyond the threshold of light remained unknown. The crowd stirred, each face illuminated by the ethereal glow that seemed to pulse with life. Mary felt the weight of their eyes, both seeking hope and wrestling with fear. She could sense the energy crackling around them, the wonder and doubt intertwining like the wildflowers at their feet. "Look," a voice remarked from somewhere in the back, breaking the spell of silence. Old Martha, her hands weathered with age and life's trials, stepped forward, her astonished expression carved deep with reverence. "This light speaks. I feel it in my bones. It's telling us something." The villagers murmured in agreement, hearts quickening as anticipation hung thick in the air. Mary raised her hands, seeking to channel the rising tide of faith, drawing them closer. "If the light is speaking, then let us listen. What do you feel it says to you?" Voices began to rise, like the gentle crescendo of wind through trees, each echoing unique feelings and thoughts. A young man named Thomas confessed, "I see visions of hope, a future where we are united, where fear has no place." "Joy!" exclaimed Margaret, her face aglow. "I feel joy like I have never known. It's as if the sadness I've carried my whole life is washing away." Others voiced their dreams, their long-buried desires surfacing in the warmth of shared faith. Mary felt a swell of emotion, recognizing the power in their words. It was a tapestry of human longing renewed by divine possibility. And yet, just as hope illuminated the darkness, fear began to prick at the edges of her heart. David's expression mirrored her own unease. He had stepped forward, hand on the shoulder of a child who gazed up at him with wide, innocent eyes. But what if this light reveals truths about ourselves that we are not ready to face? He asked, his voice steady despite the tremor within. Mary's heart sank at his words. There was an echo of truth in David's concern. Miracles could uplift, but they also called for accountability, a reckoning before God. What personal truths lay hidden beneath the comfort of their newly ignited faith? As if sensing her turmoil, the light around them began to shimmer and dance, creating shadows that twisted and turned. The crowd gasped as images emerged, momentary flashes of their lives playing out before them, moments of kindness and forgiveness interwoven with regrets and unaddressed pain. "Look," Mary exclaimed as her breath caught. "It's revealing our pasts while offering us a path forward." The air hummed, resonating with a weighty understanding. Each flicker of light delved deeper into their history, calling them to confront what they had buried deep. The divine beckoned them not only to rejoice, but also to repent, to become whole. "Will we accept this?" Mary's voice rang clear, resonating like a bell tolling on a quiet morning. "Will we embrace our truths and allow this divine light to guide us into transformation?" David's eyes searched hers, a mix of fear and resolve painting his features. "It might be hard, but I trust that the light doesn't condemn us. It guides us." The villagers stood as a unified force, hearts pounding in their chests, curiosity igniting within them. The portal had opened wide, and although the shadows lingered, they chose to lean into the brightness. Mary could feel her courage swell. "Let us step into the light, then," she proclaimed, her faith amplified by their collective determination. "We'll face what needs facing together as one community on this sacred journey." As they approached the source of the radiance, the air thick with promise, they felt an inkling that they were on the cusp of something great, a divine revelation that would not only change them, but reverberate far beyond their village. But just then, the shadows stretched further, a faint echo whispering through the field. An unsettling thought crept in. What if this was just the beginning? Amidst the glow, Mary could not shake the feeling that a greater trial loomed ahead, waiting to unfold as they entered the light. Would they be prepared for the next test of their faith? The air throbbed with suspense, leaving them at a question that pierced through the embrace of warmth. What lay beyond the portal's embrace? As Mary led the villagers forward, the light enveloped them like a warm embrace, yet anticipation gnawed her stomach. Each step felt charged with purpose, with the air thickening around them, as if the very fabric of their reality was shifting. They were about to cross a threshold into the unknown, and the hum of the collective heartbeats resonated with the mighty pulse of the divine. "Trust," she whispered to herself, gathering scattered pieces of her courage. "Trust this journey is for something greater." The glow intensified, and Mary caught glimpses of the people beside her, faces illuminated with wonder and trepidation. Old Martha stood tall, her eyes sparkling with the wisdom of years lived in faith. Young Thomas clutched his hands together, unwavering in belief. But others appeared withdrawn, wrestling with doubt. Mary's heart ached for them. "Remember," she called out, "we are not alone. This light draws us together, inviting each of us to awaken our spirits." Just beyond the limits of light, shadows still loomed, as if guarding some ancient secret. Whispers danced in the air, urging them forward while cautioning against the unknown depths hidden within their souls. Suddenly, the shores of the light began to ripple and churn. The villagers gasped, clutching one another, as images soared about them, vivid scenes of both beauty and sorrow playing in a continuous loop. Mary watched in awe as the moments of shared laughter mingled with fierce challenges and heartbreaks. The dance of light and shadow told a story of collective humanity, revealing the precious interconnectedness of every life. "Look closer," Mary shouted, filled with passion. "These are our stories, our journeys. We can embrace both the joy and the sorrow." Then, the light shifted again, creating a distinct, shimmering path that beckoned them forward. A sense of purpose washed over her like a river of warmth. Deep within her, she felt the comforting presence of something divine, as if a whisper from heaven reassured her you are on the right path. But then, the grainy texture of a deep-seated fear crept back. As beautiful as the light felt, it also demanded confrontations. Were they truly ready to face the raw truth of their lives, to reflect on past wounds that begged for healing? What if we fail? David voiced the unspoken fears, his brow furrowing. What if this light reveals not what we wish to see, but what we dread? Or old Martha chimed in, her voice steady like a guiding star. What if these revelations heal the very roots of our pain? We've carried these burdens for too long. The weight of her words struck a chord, urging others to lean in, to speak their truths, to shatter the walls that kept them locked in silence. Encouraged, Mary took a breath. Let us do this together. If we face our truths as one, we can emerge transformed. This light does not come to condemn us, but to uplift us and reveal the radiant beauty within our struggles. Around her, nods of understanding emerged. The villagers began to form a circle, seeking refuge in shared vulnerability. Together they invited the light deeper into their hearts, each prayer rising like incense toward the heavens. And there was a shift in the air, a thickening of the light that pulsed like a heartbeat, echoing their cries for healing and understanding. Mary felt at first a wave of warmth radiated through her soul, brushing away the fear of the unknown. It felt like the divine was waiting to lead them to a promised revelation. But then, a fire ignited within her spirit. A sudden clarity unfurled. "More is coming. We're not done yet," she declared, urgency bubbling to the surface. What lay beyond the horizon of this radiant portal? The air stirred with anticipation, thick and electric. The murmurs of the villagers mingled with her thoughts. Would they be ready for the next profound unveiling? What deeper truths awaited them in the light ahead? As the glow danced with fervor, a question lingered: would they embrace this divine invitation fully, even if it meant facing what lay hidden in the shadows? The stillness that followed crackled with potential, setting the stage for a journey deeper than they had ever imagined. The villagers tightened their circle, encouraged by Mary's fervor. The shimmering light swirled around them, weaving into their hearts like a delicate thread, binding them together in sacred unity. Mary could feel the pulse of faith between them, a silent pact that overflowed with hope and courage. As they stood, the air shimmered with a presence so profound that it stole her breath. The light began to shift again, illuminating the faces of her companions, revealing their unspoken fears and hidden strengths. Old Martha clenched her fists, a fierce resolve twinkling in her eyes. Young Thomas, full of youthful tenacity, stood undeterred by the weight of the moment. "Let the light guide us," he encouraged, his voice steady, "for it knows our hearts better than we do." Mary's heart soared. She would carry this momentum forward. Yes, the light reveals our deepest truths. It urges us to walk boldly. No more hiding in the shadows of our souls. A collective murmur coursed through the gathered souls, a ripple of agreement that echoed in their shared faith. Just then, the light brightened around them, radiating like sunlight piercing through storm clouds. Mary felt a gentle warmth wash over her, infusing her with strength, a divine assurance that they were on the brink of something extraordinary. But then, a sudden flicker caught her attention. A dark shadow broke through the encroaching light, flickering hesitantly at the edge. Fear clenched in her chest for a moment, but Mary stilled her thoughts, remembering Martha's words. "The light doesn't come to condemn us, face it," sounded David's bold voice, breaking through the tension. "Whatever that shadow holds, we have the light. Together, we can confront it." With newfound determination, Mary turned to her fellow villagers. "We must not shy away from what threatens us. The light will show us how to transform this darkness into freedom." As they stood resolute, the shadow contracted, swirling around the edge of their circle, like a storm reluctant to enter peace. Mary closed her eyes, drawing on years of faith instilled within her. "Guide us, O light. Show us what we need to see." In that moment, the light surged forward, and a wave of understanding enveloped her. Images danced. Memories floated through the air, each a story, each a lesson. She saw moments of anger, doubt, and mistakes. But then she saw the grace that emerged from those very struggles, the quiet moments of reconciliation, forgiveness, and growth. "Can you feel it?" she asked, tears brimming in her eyes. Even our darkest moments carry seeds of potential. Every tear has watered our spirits. Every failure has sharpened our resolve. Around her, heads nodded in unison. They began to talk among themselves about their own challenges, fears that had haunted them, and burdens they had carried. With each revelation, they released something heavy, something dark, like stones dropped into deep waters. The shadow flickered, uncertain now, losing its power. A collective sigh of release echoed within the circle. Each heart found healing in the light, in shared vulnerability. "Look!" Mary exclaimed as a gentle laugh of clarity and joy danced among the villagers. "The shadow is receding. It cannot withstand the strength of our unity." The light shimmered brightly, illuminating their faces with hope and love, mingling their stories into a tapestry of faith. Mary felt a divine presence beckoning them forward, inviting them to embrace a new beginning. "What lies ahead?" whispered Thomas, peering into the radiant glow. "Something breathtaking," Mary answered, excitement bubbling within her. "A chance to transform all that we faced into something glorious." As soft beams of light enveloped them even more, Mary heard a comforting whisper in her heart, urging her to press onward. The true awakening was upon them. But just then, a rumbling in the air shattered their reverie, and a new question hung in the air like a promise yet fulfilled. How would they harness the power of their revelations? And what might the next steps demand of them once they stepped through the light? The air vibrated with a new energy as the villagers held fast to the light they had embraced. Mary's heart raced. She felt it deep within her, a call to action, like a whisper beckoning them forward into the unknown. What awaited them on the other side of this moment? "Look around you," she urged, her voice rising above the quiet buzz. "See how the light lifts us? We are not just here for ourselves, but to shine for each other, to illuminate the paths that others may walk. We must lift up our neighbors, those who falter in their faith." Old Martha stepped closer, her aged hands trembling slightly. "Mary, dear, I've seen shadows like these linger long. They can crowd the hearts of those who feel lost. But look, this light is different. It brings warmth and purpose." "Yes," Thomas added, taking a step forward. "We faced our darkness. We have found our truths. This light is proof that we are not alone." Hearts swelled with courage. The villagers no longer gazed into the haze of uncertainty, but into the shimmering brightness of hope. They felt the call to do more than just face their struggles. They were to embrace the mission of sharing this light, this divine grace. As the rumbling in the air subsided, Mary took a deep breath, feeling the palpable faith swirling around them. "Gather your thoughts. Prepare your hearts. The light is showing us our next steps, and we must be ready to receive it." Before their very eyes, The swirling figures of light coalesced into forms and shapes, peppered with vibrant hues of blues and golds. Images of the village, of the neighboring lands, and even beyond flashed in their minds. A thread of connection began weaving itself through their hearts, making them aware of the collective need, a thirst for truth, healing, and the guidance they all longed for. What if we step beyond our village? Young Mary suggested with a spark in her eye. What if we share this light in places where darkness feels heavier? What if we travel to those seeking solace? A wave of murmurs swept through the crowd, resonating with eagerness as others began to catch the vision. To the mountains, David called out, pointing to the towering peaks beyond the village. To the river valleys, to the homes where despair reigns. With each enthusiastic outburst, both the light and the shadow seemed to contract and expand around them. The villagers felt a surge of connection, an emotional pulse running through them, rich with anticipation. They could feel it. Each voice ignited a new faith, communities healing the burdens of each other through shared love and light. "Let's create a journey," Mary exclaimed, filled with divine purpose. "A pilgrimage to carry the warmth we received. Let our hearts echo with this message. Let us transform pain into joy, trials into testimony." For a moment, silence settled like a blanket, a sacred pause where every soul pondered the weight of the new vision unfolding before them. "Are we ready?" she asked, her voice now a gentle whisper that beckoned inward reflection. "Ready to trust the light as we step into the unknown?" They looked at one another, each pair of eyes reflecting hope and uncertainty alike. With hands held tight, they nodded a commitment made beneath the shimmering glow. They were prepared to step beyond what was familiar. Then, just as anticipation heightened, an unmistakable voice broke through the glow, soft yet insightful. "The journey begins now, but consider, dear ones, what sacrifices must be made to carry this light forth. What fears still linger to be faced?" The question hung there, vibrantly shimmering, leaving them poised at the threshold of immense possibility. What challenges would emerge as they ventured into uncharted territory? Their hearts trembled, but the light within them fueled a burning resolve. They stood, ready to embrace the next chapter of their divine adventure. The shadows may have diminished, but the calling to fulfill the purpose now resonated louder than ever. What awaited them as they answered yes to the light? The villagers held their breath, the soft weight of the question hanging in the air like a prayer waiting to be answered. With hearts beating in unison, they felt vulnerability and yet a stirring joy at what lay ahead. "What sacrifices?" Mary whispered, her voice carrying the weight of their shared contemplation. Each villager began searching within, feeling the pulse of truth in their lives. As they stood amidst the swirling light, questions poured forth from their hearts. Old Martha, with eyes softening, spoke first. "To share this light, we may need to let go of old grudges. Those burdens we carry can dim our shine." A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd, underscoring the collective awareness of hidden wounds tethering their spirits. Thomas raised his hand, eager to voice his thoughts. "And perhaps we must surrender our comfort. It's easy to stay safe in what we know. Are we willing to face the unknown? True growth lies there." As others reflected on his words, a wave of understanding washed over the villagers. They were called not just to venture outside their village, but to move deep within themselves, to face the shadows hidden in their own hearts. "Let's also engage in prayer," offered young Mary, her cheeks flushed with determination. "We must seek guidance for this journey. The courage to leave behind what no longer serves us, embracing joy amid uncertainty." The crowd shifted, faces lighting up with a new kind of hope as they melded their fears with faith. And there was a vision began to unfold before them once more. They saw themselves standing on distant shores, among strangers, surrounding a fire in fellowship, sharing stories of light breaking through struggle. They felt the warmth of love as the cycle of giving and receiving filled their souls to the brim. "Imagine," said David, his voice a steady beacon. What if we unite with those we meet? Imagine carrying this light, not just as individuals, but as one community, created to help one another. We shine brighter together, their spirits ignited by the thought of communion and collaboration. They began to take hands. An actual web of connection formed among them, hearts beating as one. The questions shifted from fears to aspirations. What if they learned from others? What if they became messengers of light, crossing unseen boundaries? Yet, as their excitement peaked, a sudden stillness enveloped them. They sensed a presence, a deep and enveloping peace that echoed through every heart. In that sacred moment, they knew God was with them, blessing their steps, illuminating the path ahead. Beloveds, a gentle voice reverberated in their hearts. It is not just the light you carry, but how you share it that matters. Each encounter will transform you as you walk together in faith. The villagers exchanged glances, awash with emotions that felt larger than themselves. With fresh resolve, they began to prepare, gathering food, hearts eager and minds clear. But deep down, a question stirred, one that lingered like the echo of a hymn sung long ago. What if embracing this journey meant stepping into trials greater than they could fathom? Would their faith hold strong? Could they truly be the vessels of hope, even when darkness threatened to rise again? As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with vibrant strokes, they stood united, ready to embark on their pilgrimage. With every heartbeat, a promise resonated, a promise of love, sacrifice, and transformation. And as they took their first steps into the awakening night, the question echoed, what divine mystery awaited them beyond the known? The first steps felt heavy yet light, as if the very earth beneath them was both a blessing and a challenge. While the path stretched out before them, they knew it would not be a smooth journey. Each villager gripped the hands of their neighbors firmly, feeling not just the warmth of human connection, but the divine spark igniting between them. The night whispered hints of the challenges they would encounter, yet resonated with an undercurrent of hope. Uncertain shadows danced at the corners of their vision, reminding them that even amidst uncertainty, they carried a light. This light shimmered, brightened by their collective faith and the intentions they held dear. Mary led the way, her heart pure and steady, feeling the vibrations of their communal purpose. Let's not forget, she called back to the others, the journey is also about the stories we share. Each trial will gift us with the words we need to light the way for others. Her words echoed back with an urgency, stirring their spirits, each phrase a reminder of the voices that had once guided her. As they walked, the rhythmic crunch of earth beneath their feet merged with the sounds of night, the gentle rustle of leaves, the soft call of night creatures. These sounds became a hymn in itself, a song of the natural world celebrating their purpose. It is here, in the stillness, they found themselves in prayer, voices rising as one. Guide us, O Lord, resounded their pleas, filled with sincerity and faith. In response, a profound stillness enveloped them, wrapping every villager in an embrace of peace. It was a palpable presence, as if angels walked beside them, and they could feel the weight of their expectations lifted. Just as the night deepened, a brilliant light erupted from the heavens, splitting the darkness like a celestial dawn. In that divine illumination, shapes emerged from the shadows, figures that seemed to shimmer with ethereal grace. Fear not, they intoned, their voices layered with compassion. You are not alone. We walk beside you. One figure, radiant with wisdom, stepped forward. Each step you take leads unto a revelation, a miracle waiting to unfold. What you learn and experience will not merely refine you. It will transform you into vessels of love and peace. But what if those we encounter are not ready for our light? One villager questioned, her voice shaky yet brave. But every encounter, whether welcomed or resisted, is a part of the sacred dance of faith, the figure answered. Even in darkness, light is recognized, and your very presence will stir hope. You're the answer to the questions others are yet to ask. As excitement rippled through them, the villagers exchanged glances charged with newfound purpose. Each heart raced with the possibilities ahead, the potential shared within the community and with those they had yet to meet. They could feel the anticipation surrounding them like a warm embrace. However, doubt trickled in like a shadow, creeping across the soul. Would they have enough courage? Would their sacrifices bear the fruits they envisioned? Beloved ones, the celestial figure reassured them. Remember, faith is often born in the face of uncertainty. Carry your light unafraid, and trust that every trial is a doorway to greater truths. With a collective breath, they resumed their path, the stars now a guiding constellation above. As the villagers walked deeper into the night, a divine question lingered in the air, waiting to crystallize in their hearts. What miracle awaited them on the morrow, and how would their encounters change the tapestry of lives yet unthreaded? The path twisted and turned as the villagers pressed onward. Each step drew them deeper, not only into the landscape, but into the revelations yet to come. The night air was cool, wrapping around them like a comforting cloak, infusing their hearts with might. Somewhere within, the soft glow of hope flickered brighter, urging them on. Mary led them with steadfast faith. The divine light they had witnessed still filled her with awe. Together we are strong, she reminded them, her voice a gentle invitation to remember the unity that bound them. Each of us brings a piece of the puzzle. Let us share our gifts. As they walked, they began to share stories. The first tale came from Simon, who spoke of the day he learned to forgive a rival. His revelation had been like a stone thrown into still water, rippling outward and changing everything. Forgiveness is a gift we give ourselves, he mused, and yet it feels like giving a piece of your very heart. Can you feel how it transforms you? It lights a path through darkness. The villagers nodded vigorously, encouragement flowing freely among them. Then there was Hannah, whose faith had been tested amidst a devastating loss. In my sorrow, she said, voice trembling, I found a strength I didn't know I possessed. The emptiness opened me to goddess whispers. Tears glimmered in her eyes, but they shone not of despair. They reflected tenacity and newfound love. The stars began to twinkle with renewed brightness, as if the universe itself applauded their sharing. No longer were they just individuals traversing a physical distance. They felt woven together by threads of faith, love, and shared experience. Suddenly, amid the camaraderie, a low murmur interrupted. It came from Jonah, whose brow furrowed deeply. He was a quiet soul, always introspective, and his words held weight. But what if we stumble? He questioned, his voice barely rising above a whisper. What if the burden of our mission feels too much? Can this light truly guide us through every shadow? The villagers felt the tension in his words. Questions danced in their hearts, generating an air of vulnerability. Mary paused, drawing them closer. In our imperfections lies our strength, she said, firm yet tender. Every stutter in our journey creates pathways for growth. I believe that sharing our struggles can shine light upon even the darkest paths. If we fall, we do so together. As their voices mingled, a serene breeze swept through them, a sacred acknowledgement from the heavens. The luminous figures of the earlier encounter flickered in and out of view, as if listening, as if applauding the coming together of brokenness and hope. With spirits lifted, they resumed their journey, their laughter now mingling with the soft whispers of the wind. There was a warmth swelling within them, a blessing bred out of vulnerability. The air shimmered with promise, each breath deeper than the last, fueling them with divine energy. Time moved swiftly through the night. Soon the first light of dawn began to brush the horizon, painting the sky with hues of gold and purple. Anticipation coursed through their veins. They could feel the approaching miracle, a tender caress of holy revelation promising to bloom before them. Wherever there is need, we shall go, declared Mary, her heart ablaze as she took in the possibilities of the morning. We will carry light into places dim with uncertainty. With renewed determination, they marched forth, eager to realize what awaited them. Yet, in the echo of their laughter and stories, something lingered. Another question hung in the air. What transformation awaited them as the dawn broke, and how would their light pierce through the shadows of the world? As dawn broke, the light of a new day spilled over the landscape like a warm embrace. Wellingford was painted in shades of gold and amber, each ray shimmering with promise. Mary stood at the forefront, her spirit radiant with hope. "This is our moment," she called out, her voice strong and clear, resonating with the villagers who surrounded her. They stood united, hearts beating as one, arrayed like a tapestry woven from myriad stories. Each face told of trials faced and victories claimed. "We are ready," chimed in Thomas, his youthful exuberance infectious. "Let us shine brighter than this morning's sun." Emboldened, they began their journey toward the neighboring village of High Fork, where stories of struggle danced on the lips of those weary souls. The first steps felt like a sacred pilgrimage, a leap of faith into the unknown. Each footfall united their collective resolve to share the light, to illuminate the darkness that had once enveloped too many. As they ventured, whispers of encouragement floated through the air, seeds of love sown into the hearts of those they passed along the way. Word of their journey began to spread like wildfire, igniting curiosity. Soon villagers began to join their burgeoning procession, drawn by the magnetic power of their shared faith. When they finally arrived at High Fork, Mary felt the energy shift. The streets were quiet, hollow echoes draped the air, and the village seemed lost in burdens too heavy to bear. Yet, as they entered, Mary stood firm, her heart alight with divine purpose. "We bring hope," she declared, the words sounding like a beacon of light piercing through the gray. The villagers of High Fork emerged slowly, uncertain yet intrigued. Eyeing the group, they exchanged looks soaked in skepticism and sorrow. Then, one brave woman stepped forward. Her name was Eliza, and her eyes mirrored the pain of many a heart seeking solace. "What hope can you offer?" she asked, her voice trembling. Mary felt the Spirit guide her. She had seen this moment coming, a crossroads between despair and faith. "We have walked through our shadows and witnessed miracles. We gather now not just to speak of light, but to share our stories, our struggles, and our truths. Together, we can ignite blessings anew." Eliza's brow furrowed, but the flicker of curiosity sparked. "Then share your burdens," she challenged, her voice gaining strength. "Let us see this light for ourselves." And so, a circle formed beneath the ancient oak, its branches reaching toward the heavens, as villagers from High Fork and Wellingford came together to share. Each tale shared was a seed planted in the fertile ground of hope. Old Martha spoke of heartbreak and healing, her words gentle yet powerful. She reminded them that every wound can become a testimony when shared. Hannah recounted her own sorrow, but transformed into laughter as she revealed how she found joy in unexpected moments. Each story entwined them, creating a binding force, a shimmering web of solidarity. As their hearts opened, so too did the villagers of High Fork. Their fears and doubts began to dissipate like morning fog being kissed away by the sun. They saw their own struggles reflected in the stories before them, and slowly grew bold enough to share their own, each revelation sparking a wave of kinship. "Look," Eliza exclaimed, feeling the wave of connection ripple through them. Her voice was almost a whisper, but pulsed with life. "The light is real. It is born here, in us, as we step forth together." In that moment, realization washed over Mary like a warm breeze. This wasn't merely an exchange of words. It was the birth of something profound, a community ready to shine in unity. They felt the warmth wrap around them like a divine hug, intertwining their spirits in purpose and resolve. But even in this blaze of light, a quiet uncertainty loomed. What challenges awaited them in this newfound unity? Would other shadows rise to test their resolve? Mary stood still, feeling the pulse of the moment, knowing that trials may come, yet the path ahead shimmered with divine promise each step leading deeper into love. As the sun rose higher, casting golden rays across their circle, Mary opened her heart to the collective. "Dear friends," she said, voice steady and strong, "we are called to spread this light far and wide. Our journey does not end here, it evolves." The villagers nodded, filling her heart with awe. They had transformed from seekers of hope to vessels ready to share it. But even as they rejoiced, a lingering question hummed in the air. What depths would they explore together as they carried this divine light into the world? What miracles awaited just beyond their reach? "Let us journey together," Eliza said, motioning to the vibrant crowd, an unmistakable determination in her eyes. "Let us offer our hearts, and let the miracle of connection guide our path." Mary smiled, feeling a wave of gratitude wash over her. They had ignited something powerful, something transcendental. In that sacred moment, they were not merely villagers from Wellingford and High Fork. They were a force of love joining together, promising to illuminate the world one story at a time. And with that, they lifted their hearts together, uniting every voice in a prayer of anticipation. Together, they were ready to shine in ways yet unimaginable. Now, dear friends, this is the sacred moment when we ask you to support this journey of faith. You need to subscribe now to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories of divine manifestation. Leave a like right now to feed the algorithm and help us reach even more hearts in need of hope. Comment below with your reactions and testimonies of light. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to experience this manifestation of love and light. Let us spread this journey of faith far and wide, for only true servants of God understand the power of unity and support in our collective spiritual evolution. Let us shine together,